So we just finished the first Mythic tests of the raid, Amir Drasil. We had Gnarlroot and Igira. Those are the first two fights of the raid. Gnarlroot being the big AoE one, and Igira being the kind of Rashok similar fight. And they're a little weird. They're fine. The fights are okay. I just don't particularly like the timing issues on them a lot of the time. So, for example, on Gnarlroot here, whenever we got big like ad waves, we didn't really have anything. I didn't have Dance for it. I didn't have Vanish for it. And that's just because I'm trying to do single target as well. So you see here, my Caustic Spatter is doing great because I have my Kingsbane up. This is at the start. And then we go instantly into the intermission, and these ads are up. But I have to, like, we have to split the raid. And that's a problem, because now the ads are over there, and I want to pad the ads, but I can't. If you don't know the mechanic, basically these roots spawn. This is the intermission. The boss doesn't take any damage, and you have to soak these circles. Soaking the circles gives you a debuff, and that allows you to burn the roots here, right? Once you burn all the roots, you go back into the first phase. And the soaks here are in fixed positions, so you kind of have to split your raid up. I was on the far side without the lashers. I had to soak this. It's really awkward, because now the boss is taking increased damage, and I want to be on the boss, but I can't be on the boss. It's just really, really tight on the cooldown timing. I kind of wish that they would loosen it up a little bit, because it's the way it is right now, it's a little bit rough. It's a little bit rough on the timing. And that's not really Assassination specific. That's just like, oh, it's a 2-minute cooldown. Well, if you don't cast it right at the start, if you like hold it for an ad wave or something, 15 seconds in, it's doomed, because you're just going to be late to the increased damage phase. And then you want to use your damage during the increased damage phase, because the boss is taking 100% more. And then you spawn ads, but then the cooldowns don't line up for the ads again. It's very weird. It's very weird timing. The other thing, the Mythic mechanic itself, are these big trees. You'll see one in the top right above me coming in, those tainted treants. They need to be focused down really hard. And I was just kind of cleaving the boss most of the time. The thing is, they die too quick for you to ramp a Kingsbane onto them, but they also die too slow for you to completely ignore. Caustic was doing a good job, but I'm not entirely sure what the end result will be. Like, if we play Carnage. Carnage is a possibility on this fight, but it seems kind of weird. Arterial Precision might also be something that we want to play. There's a lot of options here for like how much ad damage you want, or if you just kind of full single target with Spatter and see what happens. I was doing okay damage though. So overall, kind of fine. Here again, you know, the ads are up. That treant should die, but I need to go away so I can soak, because if I don't go over here to soak, then nobody's going to soak, and then we wipe. So that kind of sucks, and like there's no one over here, so I just whiffed this. It's weird. It's weird. The timings are really weird. Moving on then to Igira, the second fight. Right on top of a wipe. Fantastic. So I was playing Spatter for the most part on this. Let me see if I can go forward to where I had some Spatter stuff. At the start of the fight, you get these spears, right? All of these people have spears on them, and you can hit the spears. You have to kill the spears in order to allow them to move. So it's really, really important, and a lot of it is coming down to, like, can I kill the spears and save my raid? That was sort of a big mechanic of the whole fight. The issue is that while I would love to kill these spears, Spatter is, like, never in range for them. Even though we were, like, stacking on top of one another with the spears and, like, putting it in melee range, sometimes I was cranking with spatter and sometimes I wasn't. The range just seemed very, very inconsistent on it, if I was actually hitting things or not. I tried playing Exsanguinate on it. Not Exsanguinate. Crimson Tempest. I tried playing Crimson Tempest on it. Seemed a little overkill for, like, a single target fight, quote unquote. Obviously, there's ads, but if it's, you know, if it's a single target fight, you don't really want to be taking Crimson Tempest. But it feels like you want to take Crimson Tempest because the spears are so important. But then it's also really spread out. It's really weird. It's really weird. I don't exactly know what's going to happen with that. I think at some point it's just going to be hit the boss, a single target, and let other people deal with the spears, because it's difficult to deal with the spears. One option that was like kind of okay was playing Dance and Carnage, and then you would like have Vanish for the first set, and then you'd have Carnage for the you'd have Vanish for the first set, Dance for the second set, and you would just Carnage the spears. That was going kind of okay. It wasn't the biggest damage. It wasn't anything crazy. It was pretty okay though. But yeah, I really don't know what the move is on that. It seems really weird to play around as Assassination Rogue. The other thing, Bone Spike. Let me see if I can find a clip where I'm cleaving. You'll see me throw out Bone Spikes here on everything. Bone Spike felt really good on this fight. You got a lot of resets off of these spears. But in the later phases, you don't get spears. Like, you soak here, and you don't get spears for this entire phase. It lasts about a minute. And it's okay, but it's just a balance again, where it's like, okay, well, I have the spears, I want to kill the spears, so I'm going to go AoE. But then for 2/3 of the fight, you don't see spears. Like, the spears aren't often enough to really talent into AoE, but then they're important enough to want to talent into AoE. It felt really weird. Overall, though, the fight is fine. There's a lot of random cheese and stuff. This Racking Skewer that stuns you, you can cloak this. So you don't get stunned, you just have to pre-cloak it. That's a fun thing. We also have Heart Stoppers later on, which are the orbs. They changed how this mechanic works from the last time we tested it. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, okay. So instead of the entire raid getting this, we stacked them up. Now you can't, because when you lose your orbs, like when the buff goes away, you actually pop in an AoE. So you can't stack them at all, but only half the raid gets them. You can also cloak that off. It instantly causes your debuff to go away, and you'll start spawning orbs. You can also run through the orbs with cloak, and it doesn't do any damage. All of those are fine. I don't know if there's going to be a strat where, like, you have people assigned to go run through orbs to kind of mitigate the clump in melee and make sure that they're not taking damage. Could be a possibility. But it's really, really hectic. So you can pre-cloak it, I believe, but the thing about pre-cloaking is only half the raid gets it. So if only 10 people get it, and you pre-cloak, you have a 1 in 2 chance of pre-cloak doing nothing. And I'm not sure how the targeting works. Maybe if you pre-cloak it, there's a chance that it just goes on someone else instead of you. Like, it tries to target you, it can't target you, and then it goes on someone else, so you don't really, like, remove a cast. I honestly think the best use for Cloak is probably to immune the stun. But it's weird. It's a lot of weird stuff. But yeah, pre-cloaking the second if you don't get the first is definitely an option. We'll just have to see what happens with that one, I guess. But the fight changed quite a bit from what we were doing the first time in Heroic, so I would assume with a lot of tuning and stuff, it's gonna be all over the place, and we're just gonna have to see what happens. Anyways, let's talk talents. We had a couple changes, right? So let's talk about that. The first thing is Carnage. Great spot now for something like Gnarl Root. Twist the Knife felt okay, but wasn't anything impressive. Acro and Caustic together, we aren't really sure if it works or not. It didn't feel like it was. But just being able to take Exsanguinate and Caustic all together, it's good stuff. So you can do something like this, and you'd have the cleave that you want, right? You can even go like this and then go into Shadow Dance, and you get some extra crit, right? Get some extra crit with Master Assassin. This all feels great. So you can take Arterial, you can take Tiny Toxic here. If you want to, you can go into Bone Spike. This was what I was playing for a while. And then on Gnarl Root, I went basically into this. I tried Sudden Demise. It still sucks. I don't know. If it sucks on Gnarl Root, then I can't help it. I'm gonna be honest. Do I still have the thing? Yeah, Gnarl Root. Alright, so was I playing Sudden Demise on this pull? Yeah, I was doing 0.7 on this pull. And I was doing damage. I had Crimson Tempest up on these Lashers, but it's just not it. It procced 2 times. Which, maybe I'm playing it wrong, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Maybe I need to be playing Carnage, maybe I need to be dotting the hell out of all of the Lashers in order to get Sudden Demise value. But, like, the Lashers on Gnarl Root have so little health that I feel like Sudden Demise would be just popping off. But you can't, because, like, yeah, you get leapfrogged. Like, you know, if Word Up randomly sends a Chain Lightning, or whatever the hell Enhancement Shamans do, and he does 200k to those Lashers, well, those Lashers are dead. And my 50k hit from Sudden Demise isn't doing shit. So, I don't know. The tier set as well, it got 230% of a buff, I think, last week. All the days are kind of mixing together. But it's still doing 2% on an AoE fight like this. It's not impressive. I'm going to do Mythic Plus testing in a bit, so we'll see how that works out. I'm going to have another video for the Mythic Plus testing specifically. But, I mean, what can you do? It's really difficult to make Sudden Demise work. Even after the buff to it, it's just not great. It's not great. And I don't know how to fix it. I can't fix it. Maybe it's just forever doomed to be like a Mythic plus 10 mechanic. But yeah, that's about all that I have thought-wise. Defensively, 2 charges of Feint, pretty good. I really like this 2 charges of Feint. Sprint feels incredible with Featherfoot. I really can't complain about much. Tuning is a little bit weird. I feel like the burst on Assassination is really, really strong, but then, like, if anything happens where you can't get your burst off during your death mark, you crater. If there's any sort of spread AoE, like the spears on Agira, you crater. On the ads on Gnarl Root, they felt great, but if they die too fast, you crater. It's not that Assassination's bad, it's just that when things die really quickly, you can't fully prep your Caustic Spatter, and Lashers, like on Gnarl Root, you kind of have to prep beforehand, and I'm not comfortable enough with the fight to prep beforehand. It'll probably be better on live, I'm gonna be honest, but, I mean, you'll see that even here, Caustic Spatter's doing, like, as much as Mind Venom. It's really good! It's really good, but yeah, the AoE is a little bit backloaded. I don't think it's necessarily an issue, as long as we maintain a strong single target presence in raids, which it looks like we are. At the end of the day, Assassination isn't an AoE spec at this point, right? It's a single target spec that can do AoE. So if we're still strong in single target, we're going to be perfectly fine. It's just giving us options, right? Is that all that I have to say? Am I going to continue rambling about stuff? Probably not. I think that's it. Okay, yeah, Mythic Plus testing. Bye-bye. Have a good one.